Hello and welcome to week 9. My name is Mildred. In this lesson, we are going to look at hypothesis testing and inferential statistics. Inferential statistics helps us to draw conclusions about population from a sample. When we do hypothesis testing, we are providing a structured framework for deciding whether an observed effect is real or is likely due to chance. Now, when we sample a population or we have something we call confidence interval, and the confidence interval CI gives us a range of possible values for a population parameter, and we always know that 95% confidence interval will mean that if we repeated this experiment 100 times, approximately 95 of that interval will contain the true parameter. And so let us try to simulate or look at what the sampling and confidence interval is all about. So let's import numpy as np. We will say from pypy import stats. The data is equal to np.random.normal. Loc is equal to 50. Scale is equal to 10. Size is equal to 100. So this is the sample. Now we'll get the mean will be equal to the data.mean. We get the SE. The standard error is going to be stat.sme, and we're getting this for the data. So this is the standard error. And then we get the confidence interval is equal to stat.e.interval, and we want to get the confidence, and the confidence we want to get is the 95% confidence interval. So 95 is 0.95, right? And then t is equal, let's say tf is equal to the length of the data minus 1, and then log will be, let's use the mean, and let's use the scale to be standard error. Scale is equal to the standard error. Now let's print the sample mean. Sample mean will be the mean. Let's approximate this, and then we want to print the confidence interval. So f 5% confidence interval, ai 0. Let's approximate all of them. And then we have the confidence interval 1. So we want to have the lower and the upper bound. So sometimes if we have our interval to be plus or minus 2, so we're getting the lower bound will be minus 2, like, and the upper bound will be 2. So if you do something like the expected date of delivery for pregnancy, you will say 40 plus or minus 2 weeks, and that's a confidence interval. But you know that most of the time everybody will give birth 40 minus 2 or 40 plus 2 weeks. So we'll do 1, and then let's approximate this 2f. Now let me run this, and then we have the sample mean is 49.29, and then the 95% confidence interval we have 47.35 and 51.23, and when we look at the mean is 9.29. If you take 2 away, minus 2 47 plus 2 51, so we have those kind of intervals. So you can say something like the sample mean 49 plus or minus 2 as your range of values. All right, so let's look at what the different kind of tests we can do. And we have t-test, and we're not going to look into the extreme details of this, but we're just going to look at them along with the p-values and the significance and all the assumptions for when you do hypothesis and testing. Now, when you want to choose your type of test, you want to do that based on the kind of data you have and the research question that you want to answer. So the question you want to answer now is the sample mean different from a known value? Then when you have a 2 sample t-test, you're asking the question, are the means of 2 groups different? And then we have the paired t-test, which asks like the before and after measurements different in the same subject. And then we have the chi-square test, which is there a relationship between 2 categorical variables? So we use the chi-square. Now let's see how we simulate. Look at our decision rules that we have when we use the p-values, the significant, the assumption. So we are going to get a random sample of, I'll just say 50, 10, 100. I'll use the same data. Now I'm going to have t-stat. T-stat will now be, okay, let me add all of them. T-stat p-value, and we use p-value to look at the probability of observing the data, or more extreme, if our hypothesis were true. Okay, so p1 p-value is equal to stat. We imported stat.t-test. We want to do the one sample test, so we say one sam like this. So we pass in the data, and let's do 48. Now let's print that, and let's print out the p-value. Now our decision rule when we do this hypothesis is that if the value of p is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. So we have null hypothesis, and if it is greater, we accept the null hypothesis. Okay, so when we have null hypothesis, means that there is no effect or no difference. And then we have alternate hypothesis. You always see something like H0 and H1. So the H0 is the null hypothesis, H1 is the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis will say that there is no effect or no difference, but the alternative will say that there is an effect or a difference. And so here, when we print this, let's run this, we see that the t-stat is 2.41 and the p-value is 0.01. So we say when the p-value is less than 0.05, which is less, we want to reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis. So that's what this means. So this one now we're going to reject the null hypothesis. We're just simulating what we do with this statistic analysis, but we're not actually using any real sense data to say this is exactly what we are getting here. But when we do a two-sample test, let's have a two-sample test. Let's have one we call group A, and let's make this np.random, and let's say np.random.normal. We will do, let's use 50, 10, 80, and then so let's say this is like the group A is like, let's put it as a treatment group, so we'll just do this like in the medical field, and let's say group B is equal to np.random.normal, and we want this to be like the control group. So let's say we're doing some clinical trials here. Now we'll get the t-stat and p-value for a two-sample test here because we're using two groups here. So we'll do t-stat p-value is equal to stat.test.t-test group B, and then we'll print t-statistic. We'll have t-stat, and then print p-value will now be p-value or f. Let's do this like this. Now let's print. So we want to reject null hypothesis, p-value is less than 0.05, else. So let's say reject null hypothesis. Let's do an if condition and say if p-value here, right? And else we'll write fail to reject null hypothesis. Alright, so let's run this. So this one failed to reject null hypothesis, while the p-value is not less than 0.05, the p-value is 0.062, so fail to reject null hypothesis. So we can do simulations like this, or you have your data that's after all of your data, exploratory data analysis, you want to start answering research questions. These are the things that you do. So in summary, when we have the null hypothesis, it says that there is no effect or no difference. When we have the alternate hypothesis, which will always represent with H1, we will have that there is an effect or a difference. Then when you have C alpha just means your significance threshold, and commonly the alpha is like 5% or 0.05, and the p-value we said is the probability of observing your data if the null hypothesis were true, right? And the decision rule is that if your p-value is less than 0.05, you reject the null hypothesis, and if it is greater or equal to 0.05, you want to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so anytime you have your p-value less than 0.05, it does not mean the effect is large or practically important. You have to check the effect size. All right, so when we use t-test, it just assumes approximate normality, equal variance, and so you want to always verify before use. When we use chi-square, it requires expected cell count greater or equal to 5 in most cells, and when we fail to reject the null hypothesis, it does not prove that the null hypothesis is true. It only means insufficient evidence to reject it. This is where we end this lesson. Join us in our live web conference for you to understand more about the statistical analysis and what we use them for in real world situations. Thank you, and see you next week.